What's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Fitz. I am the host of the Let's Argue podcast. And today I'm going to be talking about black influencers. That's right. I'm going to be talking about my community. And the reason I'm going to be talking about my community is because someone needs to speak out. There are people online right now speaking out, but I want to give my perspective on this. Okay? So as you start watching this video, just make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the content. If there's any topics you want me to cover, all that great stuff, we can do that. A little bit about me. I am an entrepreneur. I am college educated. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, master's degree in sociology. I am well read on many of the topics that I hear these black influencers talk about. And I also am able to think critically about some of the things that I'm hearing. And as you saw on the thumbnail, I want to talk about how black financial and mindset influencers are destroying us. That's right. I believe that black financial influencers are destroying the black community. So much so that I think they are doing more harm to us than racism. Let me explain why I have this perspective. You see, with racism, we tend to keep our eyes open for it. We tend to understand on a fundamental level that white people harmed us in the past. That's right. White people harmed us in the past. Just in many black households, the conversations are centered around when you go get a job, make sure you are acting right for white people. Make sure you're talking a certain way. When you go to college, make sure that you're behaving a certain way or putting out a certain image so that white people accept you. These are all things, and those are just examples. These are all things that the black community is used to dealing with when it comes to racism and interacting with the white community, right? We get that. With black influencers, though, I haven't seen black culture have this much of an impact on black people since rap music, right? And rap music still has a large impact on black people. So now what we're moving into is the financial sector, right? Hip hop was centered around mindset and centered around just culture, mainstream culture, what was cool and what was not cool. Now hip hop is being fused with the financial sector, and you have black people who maybe they've made some money, maybe they're entrepreneurs, but they're coming out and treating finances like it's hip hop, like it's rap, like they're using the lingo. They're talking about running plays. They're talking about how to finesse the IRS, how to finesse your landlord and not pay your rent, how to finesse the bank so that you can get money, right? They're using all these buzzwords. And one thing that stands out to me, okay, is who they're targeting in the black community, right? Who they're targeting. Here's what's happening. You have black people that are getting online that maybe they've had success in a certain industry. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they just look like they have. But they are giving financial advice to the general populace of black America. And not even just black America, but black people all over the world. But I'm going to stick on black people in America. Okay? You have influencers getting online telling black people that they need to start LLCs, telling black people they need to open up trust. Mind you, the average black person in America, I think, makes around $45,000. I haven't checked the numbers recently. I think it's between 45 to 52,000. But here's what I'm saying, okay? Other communities, when they learn about investing and they learn about finances and they learn about the banking industry, it's not from a cool, this is hip, let me run the play, let me get over on people. It's a very fundamental understanding of these systems. Hey, this is what a bank account is. This is what a trust is. This is what an LLC is. They learn about the tools, right? But it's not this over the top spectacle. And that's what finance in the black community has become, a spectacle. It can't just be, hey man, this is a checking account. Here's what direct deposit is. Here's what saving is. Here's what investing is. Nah, it has to be learn how to invest to make $1 million in 30 days. Let's run the play, and I'm going to teach you how to buy a house with no money down, no credit, no experience, no nothing. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Right? Everything has to be over the top. That's what we're getting. That's the financial education we're getting. So one of the questions that I found myself asking that I want to explore in today's episode is, I'm arguing that most black financial influencers are harming the black community more than they're helping. Most black influencers that are operating in the financial space are harming the black community more than they are helping. What do you mean by that, Fitz? What do you mean they're harming more than they're helping? Let me explain. Okay? When you're loud and you make noise and you are entertaining, that's what our culture is based off of. That's what we do as black people. We're entertaining. We're in the know. We're the one that shifts culture. We're the one that makes things cool, right? And right now, the black culture is making finance cool. But in order to make things cool, there has to be some spin on it. Right? There has to be some spin on it. Like, when I was growing up, going to school, it wasn't enough to just wear some pants and a shirt, school, some shoes, right? Gets the job done. Oh no, we had to show out. We had to have the new J's. You were supposed to have the new the jeans rolled up at the bottom with the rubber band around the ankle. I know some of y'all remember that, right? We had to put a spin on it, and that's what made it cool. And it seems like in the black community, we don't want to be a part of something that's not cool. Let's be real. Finances are boring. Okay? Financing is boring. Sitting down writing a budget is boring. But never having to pay taxes again sounds cool. Finessing the IRS, that sounds cool. Getting a real estate property with $0 down, no experience, no credit, no nothing, that sounds cool. Right? Down payments, that's not cool enough. Nah, we got to get you in that house for nothing. Right? That's the kind of financial education that's being pushed on our people. Here's something for nothing. I'm going to go as far as to say many of these black influencers are operating just like the government does when they are pushing welfare on people. Black influencers right now in the financial space are pushing financial welfare on people. In other words, they're pushing a mindset and they're pushing a product that says you can have something for little or nothing. That's what the government does to black people every time it's time to vote. We're going to give you something for nothing or something little. Give us your vote and we're going to make sure that you have your food stamps. We're going to make sure that you have your housing, your Section 8. That's all the government offers black people, really. Handouts. That's what they offer us. And that's what these financial gurus are offering the black community. Here's a real estate property for nothing. Just buy my course. Here's this real estate property, zero money down, nothing. You don't even have to pay closing costs. Never pay taxes again. Here it is, something for nothing, right? So in my worldview right now, I'm looking at many of these black financial influencers as pretty much no better than some of the politicians that run and claim that they're going to make black people whole again. Just get them in the office. That's what the black financial uh, influencers are doing. I'll make you whole again. Just buy my course. Just subscribe. Just support. Just come to my conference and I'll make you whole again by giving you something for nothing. Something for nothing. That's what many of these black financial influencers are pushing on our people. You can have it all. You can have something for nothing. You can be a millionaire for nothing. Oh, but wait. But wait. The same way that many of these black financial influencers will bring up slavery, they'll bring up our redlining, they'll bring up our past, they'll bring up white people and how we were taken advantage of by white people. Here's what they're not going to tell you. They're not upset with white people for doing that. They're upset that white people did it first. Because many of the tactics that white people use to enslave black people and keep them down are some of the same tactics that many of these black financial influencers use. Here's an example, right? During slavery, they would make examples out of black people that they did not like. They would make examples out of them so that other black people didn't act like them, right? And the black people that they made examples out of were typically the black people that they feared, the black people that would change their program. That if all black people thought like this, or all slaves, right, had behaved like this, slavery wouldn't have been able to operate. And I see that same mentality within some of the communities of these influencers when they use black pain to keep black people in line. Here's an example, right? If you see something that's fraudulent, or you see something that just doesn't sound right, and you point it out to one of these influencers like, hey, what you're saying doesn't really add up. What's the first thing they do? Oh, you whitewashed. You just hating on black people. You don't want to see us win, right? Because to a large degree, not all, but to a large degree, black people don't want to be seen as white by other black people. White people don't, or black people don't want to be seen as white by other black people. Black people want to be generally accepted by other black people. Right? And so what they do is they make an example, these black influencers, they make an example out of black people that question them, and they take your black card away from you, and other black people that maybe notice something, but they don't want their black card taken, they don't want the black community to turn against them, they're quiet because they seen what happened to Joe Schmo over here. They seen what happened to this person over here that spoke out and just questioned, hey, what you're saying isn't making sense. They seen the reaction. They seen how that black person was made an example of. And that's what's happening now. Black people that are questioning and saying, look, some of this stuff doesn't make sense, and I don't like that you're pushing it on our community. They are made examples of. They are called Uncle Toms. They are called coons. They are called whitewashed. They are called agents. They are called ops. They are called every name in the book to delegitimize them and made an example of so that other black people don't speak out. Because one thing about the black community is that we are very, very quick to turn on each other when it comes to things that elicit emotions. And here's what I mean. As a community, it seems as if we don't have healthy discussion. We're more so about the social proof. We're more so about being accepted socially. That's why you see black people killing each other over Jordans. That's why you see black people spending more money than white people on luxury items to make it look like they make more money than they do, because they want to be accepted and viewed by other black people and white people as mattering, right? And so what ends up happening is this. When we have a disagreement in the black community and we don't like something that somebody said, we don't go back and forth and have critical discussions like other groups of people. We don't have a system or a mechanism in place to where we can resolve issues and move forward, right? We address much of our issues within our community based on emotion and fear. And here's where I'm going with this. Many of these black influencers are only able to get away with what they're getting away with because many of their customers are living in fear. They live their life on emotion. So when they're scrolling through Instagram and they decide not to go to college, or maybe they didn't think they were smart enough, or maybe they're in a dead-end career, or maybe they haven't invested in themselves, or maybe they have a criminal record and it's hard for them to get a job. Whatever their situation is. When that black person is scrolling through their timeline in their emotions and so-and-so pops up like, hey, I can teach you how to flip your credit and make it to where you can go get a car, sell that car, and not even really own that car, and then start doing this and doing that and running that play, and you could be a millionaire in 1 year. And I used to sell drugs and I did it, so you should do it too. Now there's that emotion. A rational person that's thinking through it would just scroll on by it or be like, this is just for entertainment. This is just for entertainment. But when you get someone in their emotions, you could talk them into pretty much anything. And when it comes to living based on emotions, that's black people all day. That is us all day. We live in our emotions. We solve problems in our emotions. We live and die by our emotions. And right now, black influencers are taking advantage of our emotions because they understand that we have been taught since a young age that we are lesser than white people. We have been taught since a young age that no matter how hard we work, we cannot do what it is we set our mind to. I don't agree with those things. I think we can do whatever we want to do. I think oftentimes racism is used as a placeholder to make people feel good about the excuses they make. Does racism exist? Yes. I think there are larger issues at play that should be addressed. But here's where I'm going with this, okay? One thing that I'll give the black influencers in the financial space credit for is they understand their target audience. Boy, do they understand their target audience. I mean, down to a T, right? Their whole messaging, the lingo, just they understand that if they get Steve Harvey or they get another celebrity to come on their show and give some general, broad financial tip or just some motivation like, yo, every day you gotta get up and you gotta go after it. If they do that, they know that that adds credibility to them, right? And it amazes me that as black people, we talk down when white people have commercials where they bring in Shaq or they bring in another black celebrity and say, hey, buy this toothpaste. We know what you're doing. You just want us to buy your product. That's why you brought them in. He has nothing to do with the commercial. He has that. What does he have? What does he know about insurance? Why are you? We get all over white people. But when you have black financial influencers have black celebrities on their shows that are giving financial advice, that are, you know, telling you how to live your life. They understand that that is what black people gravitate towards. Because, believe it or not, many black people are looking for a father in some of these influencers. Follow me here, all right? Many black people in general did not grow up with fathers. And I believe, from a psychological perspective, that many black people, when it comes to some of these black influencers, the ones that are males, right? Many of them act as a father figure to their followers, right? They're not used to a man in a position of power, a black man in a position of power that's doing well maybe, and so they gravitate towards that. And psychologically, they're still looking for that masculine energy, and they see you online with the suit, or they see you talking and you have your stuff together, and they gravitate towards that. See, black people are thirsting for black masculinity, black healthy masculinity, and they will go anywhere to get it. And if it's online with someone telling you that you need to open up an LLC even though you have no business, even though you know nothing about entrepreneurship, even though you have no business plan, you have no capital, you don't have the skill set, you don't even know what you're doing, right? You're living paycheck to paycheck, can barely keep the lights on. They're going to tell you open up an LLC and all your problems will be solved, right? If that's where you're getting the black masculine energy, then that's where you're getting it from. I'll take it a step further when it comes to, and I don't see them as much, but I do see them, the female black influencers, right? I don't see them as much, but what I will say is the female black influencers, I don't think are doing as much harm as the male black influencers. And here's why, okay? Black women are in a different category than black men when it comes to the financial space and when it comes to the influencer space. And here's why, okay? Black men and men in general, and I'm going to say this, all right? Men in general follow many of these black women influencers because they think they're hot, because they think they're fine. Just go through some of the comments on these black women influencers and you'll see. You fine. Oh, where's your man? I would love to take you out. You a real estate agent? Do you come with the house, right? And I'm not taking anything away from black women who are influencers and who have built up a following and things like that. But what I am saying is that when you see a black woman with a lot of followers online, it's not necessarily because people are following her for her message. It's a different ball game, I think. It's a different ball game. Many female influencers that I see online, they're posting pictures where they look like they go into the club every day, that they're dressing. I see so many black female influencers where the video starts and the camera's pointed at their ass and there's a cameraman walking behind them and they got the short shorts on or they got the revealing top or whatever. And I'm not hating on it, right? I'm just telling you why I categorize them differently. Okay? So, what I think is happening is I think many of these financial black influencers are exploiting racism for personal gains, right? They're exploiting racism for personal gains because what they've done essentially is they said, hey, look, white people screwed us over in the past, and because of that, you shouldn't trust any institution that white people are a part of. Anything. Any certificate. So, for instance, if you go to school and you go to college and you're educated in something, don't trust that because white people did that. White people are in control of those institutions. So even if you're black and you go to those institutions, don't trust the black people that went to college. Don't trust the certified financial planners who went to college and all this other stuff and are certified because white people made the certifications and all this other stuff, right? This is how they prey on black people. They delegitimize the legitimate professionals so that you feel even more desperation, even more pain, and even more urgency to go to them. Because oftentimes, if people would just spend the money for a consultation with an actual qualified professional, the people in our community wouldn't be getting scammed as much. They wouldn't be spending thousands of dollars on information just to turn around and still need to spend money for their specific situation. Right? Like if you actually just went to a professional who was licensed and certified and did a consultation with them and paid the $200-$300, you would get information on your specific situation instead of just going to a course where someone isn't licensed and certified, so they can't really give you actual financial advice. They can't be held liable. Why? Because they do your own research, right? That's why you hear people saying when you go to their podcast, do your own research, but then they proceed to give you financial advice. Do your own research. Why are they saying this? Because they understand that they may be held liable for saying the wrong thing to you because they are not licensed. They understand that, so they walk a very thin line. Okay? But more importantly, the way many of these black financial influencers are using racism for their personal gain is they understand fundamentally that black people still have a lot of fear psychologically in them, and that we don't really trust white people. And because we don't really trust white people, they are preying on that, and they're saying, well, look, they don't trust white people, but they'll trust me because I'm black, and I don't even need to know what I'm talking about. All I have to do is make the alternative seem worse. This is what was happening in the presidential election with Joe Biden and Donald Trump and Trump and Hillary Clinton. It was like, well, I'm going to choose the lesser of two evils. And right now, black financial influencers are painting themselves as the lesser of two evils, but that doesn't mean they're good. That doesn't mean they're good. So understand this. When it comes to black financial influencers, look at them as entertainment only, right? There's nothing wrong with viewing a clip and then going and doing some research. But if you're going to do business, make sure the person you're doing business with is qualified. Make sure they have certifications. Make sure there's something outside of them that's able to hold them liable, right? Stop just giving your money and your time and your energy to somebody just because you saw them online. All right, let's go to the next thing. And this is a big one, right? This is something that kind of solidifies in my mind that these black financial influencers understand what they're doing, and they understand that they are only able to do it because of the fragile situation that black people are in. Physically, psychologically, mentally, etc. All right? Here's a question that I have for the black financial influencers. Would you target a white audience if you knew they would buy your products? Would you target a white audience if you knew they would buy your products? Because here's what I see. When I go online and I look at these black influencers, they're targeting black people. And my question is always, well, we know that white people have more disposable income. We know that they make more money. We know that they're interested in finances as well. How come you're not targeting them? And don't give me the crap of, well, I'm just this social activist and I'm trying to do it for the culture and do it for the people. No, you're trying to make money. You're trying to make money at the end of the day. Everyone is not a Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. Everyone is not that. Stop pretending just because you have a business and you're black that you're some revolutionary. You're not. You're someone that has a business and you're trying to make money. It's disingenuous to make it seem like everything you're doing is for the sake of black people and you would die on the cross for black people and black, 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 and black, black, black. No. You're in this business to make money. So why aren't you targeting white people? I'll tell you why I think many of these black financial influencers are not targeting white people, because they understand that the only reason their products are selling is because they're playing off of the fear and emotions that black people have. See, if you went to a white audience with that messaging, if you went to a white audience talking about we can do this and we can do that, one, I know some people are going to say, oh, well, they just wouldn't do it because you're black and they don't believe you. Maybe. But also, they're not stuck on the fact that you're black. They're like, okay, you're saying I can make this for this. Show me. Prove it. Right? Like a rational person would do. It's the same reason why many of these black financial influencers are not targeting educated black people. They're targeting financially illiterate, uneducated black people. The same reason they're targeting them is the same reason they don't target the white audience, because the white audience is going to ask questions. They're going to dig deeper. And the last thing you want, if you're trying to sell based off of fear and emotions, the last thing you want is someone asking questions, especially if your product or your service is not really what you claim it to be. You don't want people asking questions. You don't want people looking you in your eye and saying, hey, look, if you're making so much money doing all of this, right? If you're this successful person, how come all your money is made through selling the courses instead of the skill set that you're teaching me? But like, if you're making so much money doing that, like you're teaching me this skill set, but the skill set you're using is to teach me how to do it. And what you're not going to do is make it seem as if, okay, if you're making more money using the skill set that you're teaching me, why don't you just use that skill set and go do that? But the truth is, many of the black financial influencers, their skill set is selling to you. Their skill set is not what they're actually teaching you. It's selling to you. And the reason they don't go to white audiences, Hispanic audiences, is because they're not going to fall for the affinity marketing. Affinity marketing is essentially where you find a commonality with someone and you market based on that commonality, i.e., we both have black skin. And so we both probably have heard of slavery, probably heard of the things that black people have went through. And I'm going to use that to connect with you. And then once I connect, I'm going to convert. Because here's the thing. When you connect with someone, I mean, on a deeper level, it's so much easier to convert. This is why, for example, when you see these crazy stories online where, you know, a female or male, man, woman, whatever, they fell in love with somebody, and now all of a sudden, this person borrowed their car and you never hear from them again, or they was in love and this person was doing all these things, and you like, why did they stay? Because that person was able to connect with them, and then they were able to sell them something. They were able to sell them a vision of a better them. They connected, and then they're like, look, I know I have these problems, but I promise I'm working on them. I'll be better. That's what's happening within the black community with these black financial influencers. They connect with you and then they give you a vision of white people have wronged you. Come over here on the good side. I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to teach you that. Look at my Ferrari. Look at my nice house. Look at my nice clothes. I wouldn't be able to have all of this if what I'm saying is not true. Right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because if white people pulled some of the marketing tactics that some of these black influencers are pulling, we'd be having Black Lives Matter protests. We'd be talking about we don't want to put up with this, blah blah blah. Like, look at how much crap we give some of these companies, and then we turn around and let our own do the same thing to us. So look, I just want to wrap it up by saying black influencers, black financial influencers, if you're listening, I think that many of y'all should understand that if you're going to be a black influencer within the black community, that comes with a responsibility. It does. Like, I know it's well, I'm a business and you should do your own research and all this other stuff, but understand you wouldn't be successful in that business without the support of the black community, without the support of black culture. You know, the same culture that you tap into to push your products and push your services, but then you turn around and make it seem like you have no responsibility and obligation to that culture. How is that any different than a white rapper getting into hip hop and then not giving credit to the game, right? Don't we like to do that? Don't we like to talk down on Eminem and other white rappers because you don't respect the culture, so you can't be in it. But you turn around and disrespect the culture by understanding the difficulties that we've had in the financial industry, the difficulties we've had throughout history, and then you turn around and exploit those and then make it seem like your hands are clean. Nah, I don't respect it. If you're going to use black culture to push your products, then you need to give back to black culture. You need to give back. You need to respect black culture, and you need to meet people where they are at. If you understand that most of us are financially illiterate, most of us are not getting the education we need, most of us are not in a position to do our own research at an adequate level to compete with the background research that you've done that will allow you to manipulate many of the black people that are watching you, you understand that. You understand that many of the black people are not adequately able to read, are not adequately able to comprehend, right? These black influencers know that. It's not a secret. You know that. And that's why you're targeting the way you're targeting. And you understand that even if you tell somebody to do their own research, if they barely have a high school education or less, or they didn't go to college, or they don't know how to read financial statements, or they don't know who to go to ask the right questions, telling them to do their own research is the same thing as telling a baby to put their own seatbelt on when they're a year old. You could tell them, but that don't mean they're going to do it because they may not comprehend. But then when there's a car crash, it's like, oh, I told them to put their seatbelt on. That's what you're doing to black people. Do your own research. You wouldn't want that anyways. If black people were really doing their own research, you wouldn't have a business. Because as soon as they did research, they would see you should not be trusted likely. As soon as they did their own research, it's like, this don't seem like it's right. Look, I've had so many conversations with black people and some of these black influencers. And when you start asking real questions, just look at their face. Like, go look at many of the interviews. Most of the interviews are infomercials. It's like just bigging somebody up. Oh, what's your product? Oh, you did this. Oh my God, so great. They're not tough questions. They're not real questions that are going to get to the bottom of it. They're not questions like, what credentials do you have? It's always going to be well, if you in the room, you belong in the room. If you in the room, that means you have the credentials. No, it does not. Just because you in the room, that does not mean you have the credentials. Be humble. Just because you made a little money, that don't mean you should be telling other people how to get money. That don't mean, and if you are, maybe do it on a more personal level. right? Where you can control things and have one-on-one conversations with people when there's accountability and you're not putting your brand on the line because you have to go back out and tell people you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's where a lot of this comes from. You know you don't know what you're talking about well enough. Maybe you can make you some money, but you don't know how to put other people on because you didn't write down your system well enough, or you don't have it to a point to where it's fine-tuned so that other people are getting results. So instead of just trying to offer it to everybody, maybe offer it to a couple people to where you can spend the necessary time with them to work through some issues, right? Stop just everyone could be this and everyone could be that and $1 million in 30 days and I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to save you from white people, and just stop the games. All right. So that's my piece on that. If you got any value from this, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Let me know in the comments any other subjects or topics you want me to cover. I'm going to be posting more long form content like this, giving my reaction and perspective on things. So just let me know, and we will see you next time. Peace.